Have you ever wondered what separates average success from exceptional impact, not just in business, but in life? In the Diary of a CEO, entrepreneur and podcast host Steven Bartlett distills years of hard-won lessons and deep conversations with some of the world's top performers into 33 powerful laws. These aren't your typical business hacks or motivational quotes. They're timeless, practical principles rooted in psychology, self-awareness, and behavioral science, designed to help you master your mind, build meaningful work, and live with purpose. This book isn't just for CEOs. It's for anyone who wants to lead a more intentional, high-performance life, whether you're starting your first side hustle, climbing the corporate ladder, or simply searching for clarity in a noisy world. Bartlett breaks the book into 4 key areas: mastering yourself, shaping your personal story, adopting a powerful life philosophy, and building a high-functioning team. In today's video, we'll explore all 33 laws, each one offering a unique insight, like why discomfort is your best friend, how storytelling shapes reality, and what it really takes to lead others. You'll walk away with practical takeaways you can apply immediately to improve your mindset, relationships, and leadership style. Let's dive into the mind of a modern thinker who's redefining success from the inside out. Pillar 1. The Self, Mastering the Inner Game. In the Diary of a CEO, Steven Bartlett begins by grounding all success, personal, professional, and entrepreneurial, in one essential truth: you can't build anything meaningful externally until you've mastered yourself internally. The first pillar, the Self, explores the internal work required to become the kind of person capable of achieving and sustaining high performance. 1. The foundation of self-awareness. Bartlett argues that self-awareness is the bedrock of growth. Without it, you're navigating life blindfolded, driven by unconscious habits, inherited beliefs, and emotional reactions. He emphasizes that your identity is often shaped by stories you didn't choose, from your childhood, your culture, and your past failures. To become self-aware, you must observe yourself with brutal honesty. This means reflecting deeply on your thoughts, triggers, strengths, and weaknesses. Bartlett encourages keeping a daily journal. His own diary practice helped him see patterns he'd been ignoring for years. Track your emotional responses. Ask yourself, why did I react that way? Emotional awareness leads to behavioral control. 2. Discomfort is a superpower. One of Bartlett's most impactful laws is that discomfort is not something to be avoided, it's a compass pointing toward growth. We naturally seek comfort, but nothing great is built there. Whether it's waking up early, making a difficult decision, or confronting a fear, discomfort is where transformation happens. He recalls moments when discomfort forced him to grow, from dropping out of university to building his first business. He suggests reframing discomfort as a teacher. The more you chase it intentionally, the more resilient and capable you become. Make discomfort a daily habit. Start with small, voluntary challenges, like cold showers, digital detoxes, or tackling your most dreaded task first. 3. Discipline, not motivation. Bartlett dismantles the popular myth that successful people are simply more motivated. In truth, discipline, not motivation, is what gets results. Motivation is emotional and unreliable. Discipline is a decision. To build discipline, you must learn how to delay gratification and create systems that make action easier. For example, setting routines, minimizing distractions, and designing your environment to support good habits. Willpower alone isn't enough. Discipline requires structure. Build discipline like a muscle. Choose consistency over intensity. Small, repeated wins compound over time. 4. The value of solitude. In a world constantly demanding our attention, solitude has become a superpower. Bartlett shares how spending time alone, away from noise and screens, helped him hear his own voice. This was critical for decision-making, reflection, and creativity. He explains that most people are so stimulated by external input, social media, conversations, news, that they lose touch with their inner compass. Solitude isn't loneliness, it's presence. It allows you to ask deeper questions. What do I want? What matters to me? Schedule time for solitude. Disconnect regularly to reconnect with yourself. 5. Identity is a choice. Bartlett introduces the idea that you are not your past, you are your pattern. And patterns can be rewritten. Identity is not fixed, it's a story you tell yourself. And stories can change. He emphasizes the importance of intentional identity building. Rather than saying, I'm not good at public speaking, shift to, I'm becoming someone who can confidently speak. Language shapes self-image, and self-image drives behavior. Speak to yourself in the future tense. Define the person you want to be. Then take actions that align with that version. 6. The importance of energy management. Unlike time, energy is a renewable resource, but only if managed well. Bartlett says one of the most underrated traits of high performers is their ability to protect and replenish their energy. This means getting enough sleep, eating well, exercising, and most importantly, cutting out energy-draining people, habits, and thoughts. He learned the hard way that working long hours doesn't equal productivity. It's not how many hours you work, it's how focused and energized you are during them. Audit your energy daily. Ask, what drained me today? What fueled me? 7. Emotional mastery is essential. Emotions are signals, not instructions. Bartlett shares how early in his journey, he let emotions, especially fear and insecurity, drive his decisions. Over time, he learned that emotional mastery is about awareness, not suppression. You can feel fear and still act. You can feel uncertain and still lead. Emotions don't have to control you if you observe them rather than obey them. This emotional distance gives you power. Name your emotions. Practice saying, I feel anxious, instead of, I am anxious. This separates your identity from the emotion. 8. The cost of inaction. One of the most profound insights in this pillar is Bartlett's reminder that inaction is a decision with consequences. Many people stay stuck in situations they dislike, jobs, relationships, routines, not because they're happy, but because change feels risky. But he flips this. What's the cost of staying the same? What are you missing out on by not trying? Inaction has a hidden price, your time, potential, and self-respect. Once you realize that not changing is just as risky as changing, you become braver. Inaction is not neutral, it's a slow erosion of your goals. Take small actions toward change. 9. Self-respect through action. Bartlett argues that self-love isn't just a feeling, it's built through repeated acts of self-respect. When you follow through on your promises to yourself, you build internal trust. When you abandon those promises, you weaken your self-worth. This is why habits like journaling, exercising, or keeping commitments matter. They signal to your subconscious, I am someone who shows up for myself. Confidence comes from evidence. Build a track record of keeping your word, even in private. 10. Your relationship with yourself sets the tone for everything. Finally, Bartlett brings it all together by reinforcing that the way you treat yourself shapes how you treat others. How you work, how you lead, and how you live. If you're harsh with yourself, you'll be harsh with your team. If you lie to yourself, you'll struggle with integrity in business. If you ignore your needs, burnout is inevitable. Building a life of impact starts with building a respectful, honest, and empowering relationship with yourself. Self-leadership precedes team leadership. The inner game drives the outer game. This first pillar of the diary of a CEO is a call to take full responsibility for your inner world. Before we talk strategy, influence, or entrepreneurship, Bartlett insists we look inward. Who are you when no one's watching? What habits, beliefs, and emotions are shaping your day-to-day decisions? Success isn't something you chase, it's something you build from the inside out. Mastering yourself isn't a one-time event, it's a daily discipline. When you learn to lead yourself with honesty, consistency, and intention, you unlock the foundation for everything else in business and life. Pillar 2. The story, rewriting the narrative that drives you. Steven Bartlett argues that if the self is the engine of your success, the story is the GPS. It tells you where you're going, why it matters, and whether you believe you belong there. In this pillar, he explores the power of narrative, how our internal stories shape our identity, actions, and potential. Whether you realize it or not, your life is guided by stories. I'm not creative. I'm too young. I always mess things up. People like me don't succeed. These stories may feel like facts, but they're not, they're interpretations. Bartlett teaches us that by changing the story, we can change the outcome. 1. Your story is not fixed. The central message of this pillar is, your story is not who you are, it's who you've learned to be. Much of our personal narrative is inherited from our upbringing, culture, or past experiences. The problem is that most people never pause to question these inherited beliefs. They live inside someone else's story. Bartlett shares how he once believed he was a bad public speaker. That story became a self-fulfilling prophecy until he challenged it. Now, he's a global speaker. The transformation didn't start with technique, it started with narrative. Ask yourself, who wrote my story, and do I still want to follow their script? 2. The most powerful story wins. In business and in life, Bartlett says, the best story usually wins, not the best product, service, or idea. Whether you're pitching an idea, building a brand, or persuading someone, story is the ultimate tool. He explains that humans are emotional creatures. We don't make decisions based purely on logic, we respond to emotion and meaning. That's why storytelling is such a powerful force. It activates empathy, memory, and trust. Apple doesn't sell phones, they sell creativity. Nike doesn't sell shoes, they sell the belief that you can push beyond your limits. Learn to tell better stories about your product, your brand, and yourself. Emotion is your greatest asset. 3. You become the stories you tell yourself. The stories we repeat become our identity. If you constantly say, I'm terrible with money, or I don't have discipline, those statements eventually hardwire your brain to believe and behave accordingly. Bartlett urges you to be mindful of your self-talk, because your brain is always listening. Instead of reinforcing old limitations, you can reframe your internal dialogue. I'm learning to manage money better, or I'm becoming more consistent each day. The shift is subtle but powerful. You're giving yourself permission to evolve. Replace limiting language with empowering language. Words shape your world. 4. Your brand is a story. For entrepreneurs, Bartlett emphasizes that your brand isn't your logo or website, it's the story people tell about you when you're not in the room. It's the emotion you leave behind. That story must be consistent, authentic, and memorable. He shares how he built the social chain brand around being bold, disruptive, and human, and that story guided their decisions, marketing, and team culture. A clear story creates alignment, both internally and externally. Define your brand story. Ask, what do I want people to feel, believe, and say about what I do? 5. Rewrite the script. You're the author now. Most people live life as characters in a story written by fear, trauma, or societal expectations. Bartlett says the first step to growth is realizing that you are not just the character, you are the author. This means letting go of the victim mindset. Life will hand you challenges, but you choose how to interpret and respond to them. Victimhood says, this happened to me. Ownership says, this happened for me. You can't control every plot twist, but you can control the meaning you attach to it. Start each day asking, what kind of story do I want to live today? 6. Tell stories that serve your future. One of Bartlett's most practical insights is the idea that your story should serve your future, not your past. If you want to grow, your identity must evolve. This means shedding outdated labels. For example, don't say, I'm an introvert so I can't lead. Instead, say, I'm learning to lead in my own quiet, powerful way. The story must align with who you want to become, not who you were yesterday. Choose stories that pull you forward, not ones that keep you small. 7. You need a vision bigger than your circumstances. Story gives meaning to struggle. If you don't have a strong why, the how will exhaust you. Bartlett explains that having a compelling vision is like having a lighthouse. It keeps you going when the waters get rough. He encourages people to define their story of the future. What does success look like? What will your life mean? Who will benefit from your growth? When your vision is strong, setbacks become chapters, not endings. Write a vivid story of your future. Read it often. Let it energize your present. 8. Storytelling for connection, not ego. Finally, Bartlett reminds us that storytelling isn't just about persuasion, it's about human connection. People resonate with vulnerability, honesty, and shared struggle. The best leaders and brands tell stories that say, I've been where you are. He warns against ego-driven storytelling, where the goal is to impress rather than connect. True influence comes from authenticity, not perfection. Don't just tell stories to be liked. Tell stories to make people feel seen. In this pillar, Steven Bartlett teaches us that your life is only as powerful as the story you believe. The good news? You can change the story at any time. You can step out of inherited narratives, silence your inner critic, and write a new identity rooted in purpose, clarity, and belief. You're not stuck. You're just living in an old story, and it's time to edit the script. If the self is about building the foundation, the story is about directing the path, deciding who you are, what you stand for, and where you're going. Pillar 3. The philosophy, designing a belief system that wins in the long run. In the third pillar of the Diary of a CEO, Steven Bartlett shifts focus from personal mastery and storytelling to the deeper ideas that guide our decisions. The philosophy is about developing mental models and life principles that create clarity, reduce chaos, and lead to sustainable success, not just financially, but emotionally and ethically too. Your philosophy is like the operating system of your mind. If it's outdated, reactive, or borrowed from someone else, it can lead you in the wrong direction. But if it's intentional, conscious, and rooted in reality, it becomes a compass that steers you through complexity with calm confidence. Let's explore the core ideas in this pillar. 1. Beliefs are tools, not truths. Bartlett begins by challenging the idea that our beliefs are always right. Instead, he suggests we should view beliefs like tools, only keep the ones that help you build a better life. For example, believing that failure is a step forward might not be objectively true in every case, but it serves you. It motivates resilience. That's more useful than a belief that failure means you're inadequate. Constantly audit your beliefs. Ask, does this belief help or harm me? 2. The world is not fair, and that's okay. Bartlett is brutally honest about one thing. Life isn't fair, and expecting fairness will hold you back. Some people start ahead, some get lucky, some lose everything for no reason. But wishing the world were different doesn't make it so. Instead of hoping for fairness, focus on radical responsibility. Own everything you can control. Energy wasted on blame is energy lost from building something meaningful. Accept the unfairness, then outwork, outthink, and outlast it. 3. Learn to think in decades, not days. In a culture obsessed with speed and shortcuts, Bartlett offers a refreshing counterpoint. Long-term thinking is the ultimate advantage. While others chase quick wins, think in terms of decades. What would your decision look like if you planned to stick with it for 10 years? This mindset helps you avoid shiny distractions and build with patience and depth, whether it's your career, relationships, or brand. Delay gratification. Play the long game. It's where true rewards live. 4. Avoid the tyranny of more. More followers, more money, more likes. Bartlett warns against the illusion that more will finally bring peace or fulfillment. He shares how his own success left him feeling empty until he redefined what enough meant. Chasing more without intention is like running on a treadmill. You go nowhere but get exhausted. The answer is alignment, not accumulation. Define your enough. Without it, you'll never stop chasing. 5. Invert the risk. One of Bartlett's most practical ideas is the concept of inverting risk. Instead of asking, what if I fail? Ask, what if I don't try? Most people overestimate the cost of action and underestimate the cost of inaction. Fear makes them imagine worst-case scenarios, while ignoring the long-term pain of staying stuck. He argues that bold moves often carry less risk than they seem, especially when you factor in growth, learning, and self-respect. Reframe failure as feedback. The real risk is regret. 6. Time is the most valuable currency. Bartlett reinforces a timeless truth. Time is the only currency you can't earn back. Yet we often spend it carelessly, on distractions, obligations, or people who drain us. He urges us to treat time like money, budget it, invest it, and guard it. The most successful people he knows are not just wealthy in money, they're rich in time freedom. Audit your calendar. Are you spending time or investing it? 7. Happiness is a byproduct, not a goal. Bartlett reveals a major turning point in his life. Realizing that happiness can't be pursued directly, it emerges as a result of meaning, growth, and alignment. When you chase happiness for its own sake, it slips away. But when you chase purpose, happiness often follows. He encourages shifting from, "What makes me happy?" to, "What makes me proud?" That question leads to actions with deeper rewards. Focus on becoming the kind of person you're proud of, happiness will follow. 8. Learn to say no without guilt. One key to protecting your energy and focus is the ability to say no, with clarity. Without guilt. Bartlett learned that overcommitting out of fear, people-pleasing, or ego spreads you too thin and disconnects you from your priorities. Saying no isn't rejection, it's respect. Respect for your mission, your values, and your limits. Every yes is a no to something else. Choose wisely. 9. Curiosity beats certainty. Bartlett says that some of the most successful people he's met share one trait: they're endlessly curious. Instead of clinging to what they know, they ask better questions. They admit when they're wrong. They evolve. Certainty often leads to arrogance or stagnation. Curiosity fuels creativity, humility, and innovation. Trade being right for getting it right. Stay a student forever. 10. Be unreasonable with your standards. In a world that rewards mediocrity and speed, Bartlett argues for unreasonably high standards, especially when it comes to your work, your team, and your personal conduct. He shares how holding high standards, even when inconvenient or unpopular, creates trust, excellence, and long-term results. The best leaders aren't always liked, but they are respected. Demand excellence from yourself first. The world will follow. This third pillar is where Bartlett challenges us to move from autopilot to intention. Life doesn't hand you a philosophy, you build one. You choose what to believe, what to reject, and what to embody. And the quality of those choices determines the quality of your outcomes. The big message? A powerful philosophy simplifies your life. When you know your principles, decision-making becomes faster. You stop overthinking. You stop comparing. You start building on solid ground. If the self is about knowing yourself, and the story is about directing your identity, then the philosophy is about living by design, not by default. Pillar 4. The team. Designing relationships that compound your growth. Steven Bartlett ends his book with a truth that many overlook: success is rarely a solo journey. Whether you're building a business, nurturing a relationship, or growing personally, who you surround yourself with defines your ceiling and your sanity. In the team, Bartlett unpacks how to build, lead, and protect the relationships that accelerate your growth, and how to let go of the ones that don't. 1. You become who you hire, befriend, and date. Bartlett opens this pillar with a hard truth: the people closest to you either pull you forward or hold you back. We often underestimate how much we absorb from our environment. Our mindset, habits, and emotional responses are shaped by the people around us. He emphasizes that relationships should be intentional, not accidental. Choosing your circle should feel like hiring for your life. Whether it's a romantic partner, a best friend, or a business collaborator, they're either multiplying your energy or draining it. Audit your circle. Ask, does this person make me better? 2. Hire based on values, not just skills. When it comes to building a business team, Bartlett stresses that culture beats talent. A brilliant person with toxic values will do more harm than good. That's why hiring should focus on alignment, especially in values like honesty, work ethic, and ownership. He shares how some of his worst hiring mistakes came from overlooking red flags because of someone's credentials. Over time, those mismatches led to conflict, distrust, and wasted potential. Skills can be trained, values can't. 3. Leaders set the emotional tone. Bartlett explains that leaders aren't just decision makers, they're emotional thermostats. Their mood, tone, and presence influence the entire team's psychology. If a leader shows up anxious, reactive, or dismissive, the team becomes tense and uncertain. But if they show up grounded, curious, and accountable, the team mirrors that too. Great leaders are calm under pressure. They lead with clarity, not chaos. Your state becomes the culture. Lead yourself first. 4. Candor builds trust. One of the strongest ideas in this pillar is the power of radical candor. Bartlett argues that most problems in teams and relationships stem from people not saying what needs to be said. Fear of discomfort leads to dishonesty. resentment, and disconnection. He recommends a culture of truth over harmony. That doesn't mean being rude, it means being honest with empathy. Feedback should be direct, kind, and focused on growth. Trust is built through truth, not avoidance. 5. Choose energy over experience. Bartlett learned that attitude often matters more than experience. He'd rather work with someone who's hungry, adaptable, and emotionally intelligent than someone who's technically excellent but drained or entitled. The right energy can lift a whole team. It inspires momentum, creativity, and collaboration. The wrong energy, even from one person, can poison the entire culture. Energy is contagious. Protect your team's vibe like it's sacred. 6. Fire fast, hire slow. One of the hardest lessons in leadership is this: keeping the wrong person too long costs more than letting them go early. Bartlett admits that some of his biggest regrets were letting toxic or underperforming team members stay out of guilt or hope they'd improve. He says you should hire slowly, with intention and alignment, and fire quickly when it's clear someone is not right for the team. Every extra day is a silent tax on culture and results. Compassion isn't coddling, it's clarity. 7. Relationships are systems, design them. In business and in life, relationships are not accidents, they're systems that must be designed. Bartlett encourages people to define the rules of engagement in their personal and professional lives. That might include setting expectations clearly, agreeing on feedback loops, or even having check-ins to discuss what's working and what isn't. High-functioning teams and couples don't avoid conflict, they design for connection. Don't wing your most important relationships. Engineer them. 8. Don't confuse proximity with compatibility. Just because someone is close to you doesn't mean they're right for you. Bartlett shares how staying too long in unaligned partnerships, whether business or romantic, can slowly erode your potential. He warns against emotional inertia. Familiarity isn't the same as fit. Sometimes, growth means outgrowing people who no longer align with your values, goals, or pace. Loyalty doesn't mean staying stuck. It means being true to your future. 9. Protect your peace. Success brings noise, opinions, distractions, invitations, attention. Bartlett says one of the most underrated leadership skills is protecting your peace. That means creating boundaries, avoiding energy vampires, and preserving mental clarity. He avoids toxic group chats. He limits low-leverage meetings. He says no often, because your mind is your most important asset, and clutter kills clarity. Make peace a priority, not a luxury. 10. A great team multiplies you. Finally, Bartlett ends with this uplifting idea: the right people don't just support you, they multiply you. They challenge you, inspire you, and carry your vision even when you doubt it. They make hard work feel lighter. They turn missions into movements. Whether it's a co-founder, a romantic partner, or a best friend, surround yourself with people who see your potential and refuse to let you settle. Find people who grow your vision, not just your ego. Steven Bartlett's fourth pillar reminds us that you can't scale your life alone. No matter how smart, disciplined, or motivated you are, your results will eventually be limited by your relationships. So choose them intentionally, lead with empathy, design for honesty, protect your peace, and when the right people arrive, honor them, invest in them, and build something bigger than yourself. In the end, the team is not just about business. It's about life. It's about building tribes that make you feel alive, supported, and seen. As we reach the end of the Diary of a CEO, one truth stands out. Success isn't about hacks or shortcuts, it's about building a life with intention. Steven Bartlett's 4 pillars, the self, the story, the philosophy, and the team, remind us that real growth begins within. But it multiplies through the people and beliefs we surround ourselves with. It's about knowing who you are, shaping the narrative you live by, choosing beliefs that serve your future, and walking alongside the right people who challenge and uplift you. This isn't just a business book, it's a blueprint for becoming someone you're proud of. So if you're ready to design a life that aligns with your purpose, to grow beyond limits, and to stop living on autopilot, this book is a great place to start. And if you found value in this video, help this message reach more people. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a dose of wisdom like this. Let me know in the comments. Which of the 4 pillars hit home for you the most? Thanks for watching, keep growing, keep building, and I'll see you in the next one.